Welcome everyone to oldtacosandgeeks.com. Justin here, and today we are going to be reviewing the early access game Spirit and Strike or Spirit X Strike. As always, I give you a brief synopsis. So without further ado, here we go. An action adventure game that lets you craft unique combos and explore endless ways to style on your enemies with high-speed combat system. Test your skills in a fun, chaotic one versus group battles, intense strategic duels, and exhilarating post-apocalyptic adventure that will set your blood boiling. And oh boy, does your blood boil because this game does get challenging. I will explain that in the gameplay section. But first, let's talk a little bit about the story here. You play as Carter, and Carter is the last disciple of the Spirit Fist lineage. He's tasked with unraveling his master's disappearance and battling his way through a ravaged world filled with rival warriors, beasts, and shadows of the past. So far, I will say that the story is very linear and is lightly told, but mostly through these stylized cutscenes and brief dialogue. It is an early access build. I have to stress that again. There's 6 chapters and 6 boss fights that are included in this early access, and it does offer a solid chunk of playtime. But it's clear that the narrative is taking a backseat to more of the focus being of the actual combat. And there are hints of a deeper lore waiting to be uncovered, and the world building does show promise, but this particular game is not trying to be a story first experience yet. So if you're hoping for heavy dialogue or exposition or emotional arcs, you may find that this current build to be very sparse, and that could change over time. For that, I would have to say though, I did like the setup of the story. I felt that Carter was a very interesting character. The world building reminds me a lot of Fist of the North Star, just from the aesthetic standpoint. So let's talk a little bit about the gameplay here because this is where it really shines, and that's due to its brilliant layered combat system. The game invites players into this martial arts fantasy that goes beyond punch, punch, kick. It rewards timing, stance switching, adaptability. It's blending your traditional brawler mechanics with some really cool systems like the Spirit Mimicry, which sets aside planned combos and deploy them on command. It's like stashing special attacks and launching them for max impact when with the time that when you time it right. And then you have the instant counter, which is my favorite. I mean, and just the visual of it is just gorgeous when you see it. You nail the timing, and then you can parry the attacks, and then it opens up the enemy's attacks to just like just a world of hurt of combos. And then you have the super strikes, and this is like your cinematic finishes, and it does look cool. They restore your health, it staggers enemies, and it offers more of a tactical advantage in the thick of battle, especially during the boss battles. The learning curve is real, especially on a higher difficulty of Grandmaster, but everything clicks. It does feel like Devil May Cry met Sifu on a dusty apocalyptic highway. The best way to describe the gameplay. The combat is fluid, it's rewarding, and especially in the boss fights. But I will say this, and I think the developer with the latest patch has kind of fixed it. There is a difficulty spike even on easy mode. Like you can run through the regular enemies, the wave of enemies that come to it, and then once you get to the boss, it's like the spike just goes up, and you're getting your ass handed to you. Where everything that you have to learn, everything that you've learned up to that point, you really have to put to the test. Some might be turned off about that, especially if you're playing on easy mode. Even on normal, when I was playing it, I felt I was like, oh my god, should I lower the difficulty? I lowered the difficulty, and I was able to manage it, but I was still getting my ass handed to me. It took a couple of tries for certain bosses, but once you learn, and I will say that the reason why is because once the boss starts using their power, like when they start charging up using their spirit energy, the damage it takes was just so much and so quick, and sometimes it's hard. There's certain combos that certain bosses have you have to dodge, you can't block. So for me, it was just like, oh my god, what the hell? But that being said, I will say this. Each encounter forces you to think and not just keep spamming, spamming, spamming. There is a variety of enemies, and you have to take them down in certain ways. Certain combos, certain things will do more damage, and I really do like the brutality of it. I will have to say this camera, though, sometimes does struggle to keep up. it is especially in this chaotic tight areas, it can visually falter in the dodging, and sometimes reading the enemy's telegraphs can feel like guesswork. Additionally, some enemies and animations repeat a bit too often. So that, take that into consideration when it comes to that. As far as the graphics go, now, this is where I said it's definitely still in a early build phase. And if you know me, if you know my reviews here on the Tacos and Geeks, graphics is usually the one I'm the most like. I don't go as hard as I do on gameplay. Graphics for me is just like, look, I grew up in the 8-bit era. I could give two shits as long as it doesn't hurt my eyes. Your game could be a 16-bit, 8-bit, whatever. For me, it doesn't like I'm not too heavy on graphics, but does it run well and does it look appealing? Does make sure it doesn't hurt my eyes? So I will say this: the graphics is trying to capture that gritty wasteland that you will see something like in a Fist of the North Star or a Mad Max, and the character designs are clean, but it does need the art style in certain, especially when the close up the character designs need a little bit more work, need a little bit more detail, especially in some of the animation fronts. They do look a little bit stiff. So that being said, keep that in mind. It is early access, but the presentation, there are some frame rate dips, some minor stutters that occur. Even if you have a decent hardware, I have a great laptop, but even I encountered a little bit of hiccups from here and there. Nothing game breaking. Want to stress that nothing game breaking, but I did encounter some hiccups from here and there. But I will have to say this: it's still undeniable when the game runs smoothly. The fights look great. The visual effects look great. Every punch, every impact, you do feel it. And as far as the music goes, I enjoy the music. The music complements it, gives you right into the action, has a really nice score. The voice acting, when we do get it, sounds decent enough. It does serviceable enough to really bring out the characters. And let us go to the final verdict. So, we do here at otakusgeeks.com, you know what we do. It's either buy it now, wait for sale, or skip it entirely. I'm having fun with this. This is an early access game. I had fun with it. It is 6 chapters, so and it is a challenge. So I would say the difficulty will give you some replay value. The developer did fix and tweak certain things when it comes to the spiking of the enemies and the bosses, so it is playable even on easy. So for those who just want to breeze through, you'll be able to breeze through. For those who want a challenge, you're still getting your challenge like I did. So I'm gonna give this a buy it now. It's a fun game. It is still in early access. It still needs a lot of work, but it shows some promise, and this could be definitely an indie standout. This is Justin from otakusgeeks.com. What did you think of Spirit in Strike or Spirit X Strike? Comment below. Let me know. If you like what we do here, hopefully we earned your subscription. So please hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. And I'll catch you on the next review. Peace, love, and happiness to you all, my friends. Later days.